A 50-minute gameplay footage of the first Berserker Khazan was recently released, offering a glimpse of where the action RPG currently is in terms of its development. We have previously covered an earlier gameplay footage reveal along with an interview with the developers, so let's check out this one as well. In the ever-evolving landscape of action RPGs, where dark fantasy often intertwines with intense, gritty combat, the first Berserker Khazan is poised to make its mark. This title, coming to PlayStation, Xbox, and PC, is being crafted with an ambitious vision. From the moment you step into its brooding universe, you're in for a unique experience. As a hack-and-slash action RPG, the first Berserker Khazan immerses players in a world rich with dark fantasy themes and a Souls-like challenge. The game aims to give players a unique blend of dynamic combat and an anime-inspired aesthetic, making it a game to keep an eye out for. Developed by Neopal, who also developed Dungeon Fighters Online, this game will be a step towards a completely different direction both visually and gameplay-wise, while still maintaining the lore set by the previous franchise. For those unfamiliar with Khazan's lore in Dungeon Fighters Online, at the core of the game's narrative is Khazan, a former general whose story is marked by tragedy and betrayal. Alongside the formidable archmage Ozma, Khazan conquered the fearsome dragon Hismar, a triumph that should have secured his place in legend. However, instead of being celebrated for the glory and honor he earned, Khazan is falsely accused of treason, cast out, and betrayed by the very kingdom he swore to protect. Stripped of his title, honor, and purpose, Khazan embarks on a relentless quest for vengeance, seeking to reclaim what was taken from him and exact justice on those who have wronged him. This narrative setup provides a foundation for a dark and compelling journey, blurring the lines between hero and villain amid betrayal and revenge, drawing players into a story that is both emotionally charged and action-packed. Visually, the first Berserker Khazan is nothing short of stunning. Right from the start, the game makes a strong impression with its cel-shaded graphics. It's clear the developers have poured some effort into crafting an environment that feels both fantastical and is rooted in harsh reality. The details are remarkable, from the way Khazan's hair gently sways in the wind to the way the snow on the ground breaks and scatters as he trudges through the frozen landscapes. The anime-inspired 2.5D art style adds a unique flair in a way that sets the game apart. Paired with an almost top-down camera angle, this distinct visual approach enhances the dynamism of each scene, allowing players to fully appreciate the depth and detail of the world around them. One of the most striking features of the game's visual presentation is the attention to detail, especially during combat. The blood splatter effect that occurs when Khazan hits an enemy isn't just a generic visual. It actually changes direction based on the angle of the attack as well, adding a satisfying layer to each blow. This detail extends to the enemies too, who show visible wounds from your attacks, and these wounds staying throughout the fight. This contributes to the gritty, realistic atmosphere that developers are striving for. Fans who like a bit of gore will surely appreciate this, as it enhances the game immersion, making each battle feel like you're truly embodying a Berserker. It's no surprise that this game draws inspiration from the hit manga and anime series Berserk, because you can definitely feel like guts while playing. The world design in the first Berserker Khazan is what the game really gets right. While it doesn't have a full open world setup, the closed level design still offers plenty of room for exploration. There are even shortcuts that can be found if you know where to look. The developers have hinted at hidden treasures, lore-packed items, and secret spots scattered across the game's eerie, haunting landscapes. There are also some sort of checkpoint system in place. The design clearly draws inspiration from games like Dark Souls, where the environment itself tells a story and adds to the overall experience. And even though the first Berserker Khazan might not have the sprawling, interconnected world of something like Elden Ring, it still has beautiful level designs, and you can still have a lot of things to do, like collecting hidden items or loot. The full details of the game's HUD are still not revealed, but we do know there will be a stamina system complete with a stamina bar. This means that combat will require some smart resource management, much like what you'd find in Souls games. With the stamina system paired with the existing combat mechanics, players need to stay sharp and adapt to the ever-changing flow of battle. This mix of familiar and new elements will keep players totally engaged, delivering a combat experience that's tough but rewarding. Diving deeper into the combat, the first Berserker Khazan takes a lot of cues from the Souls-like genre. Fans of this style will recognize familiar mechanics like blocking, dodging, and parrying, essential for making it through the game's tough battles. But what really sets the game apart is how snappy and responsive the combat feels. Unlike some Souls-like games that can feel clunky, this game's combat looks smooth, where every move and action is spot on. The result is combat not only challenging, but also deeply satisfying, rewarding players for their skill and timing. One of the interesting features of the combat system is the ability to use the environment to your advantage. Whether you're pushing enemies off ledges or baiting them into spots where the ground might give way, These environmental interactions add strategic aspects to the gameplay. This encourages players to get creative and form strategies with the surroundings in mind. Plus, the addition of visual cues, like red flashes when you nail a parry, is a nice touch. These indicators make landing a perfect parry even more satisfying, adding to the overall combat experience. That said, the 50-minute gameplay footage we've seen so far suggests that while the combat is solid, it could definitely use more depth. The mechanics are well executed, but they don't offer much that we haven't already seen in other games of the same genre. However, it's worth keeping in mind that early gameplay footage doesn't always show off everything a game has to offer. The developers still have time to introduce new elements that could make Khazan stand out more. Plus, considering this is just the first 15 minutes of the game, it's likely that new mechanics will be introduced as the game progresses. After watching the gameplay, I noticed that Khazan's appearance changes over time. He starts with the bloodied bare hands, but soon picks up some bracers and shoulder armor. Previous footage has shown him in different armor as well. While it isn't fully confirmed yet, the fact that Khazan's looks change based on the gear he equips is exciting. It's more than just a visual detail, it adds to the immersion and gives players the freedom to shape their character. The aesthetic customizability is great for players who enjoy tailoring their character's look. Plus, as Khazan's appearance evolves, it mirrors the player's journey, making each new piece of gear feel like a big achievement. This suggests there could be more customization options in the final game, offering players more ways to make their character their own and feel deeply connected to their growth. This customization aspect could really enhance the diverse combat styles Khazan seems to offer. While dual-wielding an axe and sword might look cool, that's just scratching the surface. Imagine Khazan using different stances, maybe wielding a sword and shield for a more defensive approach, or switching to a bow for taking down enemies from a distance. Having multiple combat styles with their own strengths and weaknesses adds a lot of depth and strategic options to the game. It lets you tailor your combat approach to whatever challenges come your way or just fits your personal playstyle, making each fight feel unique. Plus, it sets the stage for replayability. Trying out different builds and strategies could totally change how you experience the game. Overall, I think the gameplay footage looks great. It fixed some of the issues from earlier footage, like the FPS drops, and comparing the new trailer with the first 15 minutes, it feels like a whole different game. I really appreciate how the game throws you into the action right away instead of locking you into a dull tutorial. You get to learn as you play. What we've seen so far is promising, and I'm genuinely excited for future updates. I'm especially looking forward to seeing more about the customization options and different fighting styles. I just think the combat shown in the gameplay footage is still a bit lacking. It does look cool, but surely there's much more to it than what it's shown. Otherwise, non-boss fights would definitely feel like a chore as it goes on. If Neopal manages to polish these elements in the final development stages, the first Berserker Khazan could make a notable impact in the indie action RPG market. A solid mix of story, combat, and customization might make it a fan favorite. If it performs well, it could even lead to updates or sequels that explore additional content and expand the game's universe. We're going to be checking out this game at Gamescom next week, so be on the lookout for more information with it. We get to go hands-on. Really looking forward to playing this one, but I want to know what you guys think. Is this a game you guys are keeping an eye out on? Have you had too many Souls-likes in the past, or are you looking forward to more? Let me know in the comments below.